In this lesson, we'll learn how to work with editable motion trails. Motion trails plot out a line that shows an object's trajectory. This is a great tool to use when checking for arcs in your character animations. Now, the fact that they're editable means that in a way, Maya will create an interactive F-curve that can be modified right from our viewport. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. We'll grab our ship control and head over to our animate menu, and we'll find it right above the atom tool. Alright, so let's go ahead and check the options. We'll reset our settings and create our trail. Now you can see from the channel box the node has been made. Here it is under outputs. However, we can't see the trail just yet, not until we go to the shell menu and make sure motion trails are checked. In the past, you've had to turn on locators, but here we have that option. Let's go ahead and check it on, and here is the motion trail. Alright, so again, we can see the object's trajectory now. And you have the choice of either just using this as an arc checker, so we could always go in, grab the animated object, and let's say start to translate this down, and you can see how that will start to update the motion trail. So keep in mind, I do have auto key on, so we're able to see this change. With auto key off, we'd have to go ahead and make sure the keyframe was made in order to see this update. So if we wanted to, we could also, let's say, add animation another way by using the modify key mode. So if I were to go ahead and select the motion trail node, or even select the motion trail from the viewport here, what you'll see is we can now go in and enable modify keys. Let's go ahead and click around frame 15 or so. And you'll see animation has been added. Let's go ahead and head over to our graph editor. What you'll see is that Maya has created an insert key, meaning that it has preserved our function curve while still adding animation, which is nice. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's say if we wanted to start modifying the animation from the trail directly. Well, first, we'd want to make sure we turn off modify keys. You can see as we start to click, well, Maya's going to continue adding resolution to this. So I'll go ahead and just undo just a few times to remove those two keys. And now we'll make sure modify keys has been disabled. When we go in and start to select these points on our motion trail, if we head over to our move tool, watch, we can now start to go in and start to update this path. Again, directly in our viewport, which is very neat. So we could always go to this key around 45 and start to tweak that, maybe pulling the path out a little bit more and forward in the z-axis. Beautiful. Now the fact that this is updating our function curve doesn't necessarily mean that we don't have to work with the graph editor anymore. If you want the animation to turn out exactly the way you intended it to, you're going to want to work with the graph editor. However, this is a great assistant, again, to make sure your arcs exist for the principle of animation to also exist in your animation. Beautiful. So at this point, we may want to grab this key on around 35 right there in the center and just delete it to start smoothing out this path a bit more. And then you could just start to tweak this to, again, get the result you'd like. I might go to the beginning of the animation, around 15, and maybe pull that point out over to our left just a little bit more to add more of an arc. Great. We may still need to go to our ship and add some rotation. So let's say on around frame 33 or so, we can go to our rotate y-axis, start to tweak that, just to make sure the ship is always oriented correctly. So it looks like around frame 15 we need to do the same. Let's go ahead and rotate the ship in the y-axis. Great. So that's looking a lot nicer. How about the end of the animation? Let's go ahead and have it fly over to the very end. And again, we need to go ahead and tweak the direction of the ship in the y-axis so it points correctly. Beautiful. I might also do that on 55, and I think that will be the last rotate Y keyframe we'll need to add. All right, so once we're satisfied with the outcome, this is a very non-destructive tool. So what that means is we can go in and select the motion trail and simply delete it, and the animation will still be intact. Very nice. All right, so what we've learned in this lesson is how to not only check for our arcs, but how they can be modified interactively from our viewport using editable motion trails. If anything, do use motion trails to make sure that you are staying true to that principle of animation, which will, in the end, add more appeal to your work.